Hey, this is Pamela Schneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is Produce with Pamela. And again, I have my friend Heather here, and we're going to talk about pumpkins. And it's mid-November now, or early November, and I'm sure that every grocery store in America is like, if they haven't already sent their pumpkins to the food bank, they have a bin of pumpkins somewhere going, what are we going to do with these? And you know, the internet says you can eat them. And actually, Four Seasons Produce has a really great chart of which pumpkins, of these funky pumpkins, that you can actually eat, which I sent that to Heather last year, and she was super grateful because, you know, it's a handy guideline, because this, no matter how much your super crunchy friend tells you, you do not want to eat a jack-o'-lantern. No. Have you tried eating a jack-o'-lantern?
I think I've tried one time, and they're so bland. Like, there's like no amount of seasoning is going to make it taste like pumpkin. It's gonna be just like mushy cinnamon.
Mushy, stringy.
Yeah,
Mushy and stringy. Yeah.
And so much water.
Yeah, yeah. And somebody told me that you can actually like hollow it out and bake stuff in it.
No,
yeah, no.
It's not even worth it.
No, not worth it at all. So the pumpkins that I have cooked with before are sugar pumpkins, the pie ones that are like shaped like this. Yeah, we think we've got one over here, one of those teeny tiny ones up there. But now, over the last couple of years, all of the stores have been having these like crazy wacky pumpkins.
But they sell them as decorative.
Yeah, they sell them as decorative. They don't tell anyone.
Well, at H-E-B yesterday, I was really surprised. They still had pumpkins. And every year before that, they've always been out by now. Like, after Halloween, they would, like, get rid of them. But yesterday, they still had sugar pumpkins, which is good for Thanksgiving and stuff. But they also had these guys in next to it, and they were 79 cents a pound. So they were selling it as produce.
Oh yeah, they were selling them as produce instead of as decorative.
I've never seen that before. Up until then, though, they were selling them as decorative.
They were selling them as Sandra Lee tablescapes. Yeah, and no one actually does it. Do they? Do they? Okay. Anyway, so you cooked these before.
Yes.
What did you learn the first couple of times you tried to cook these?
So they're a lot bigger than they look. That makes sense. So like you get one and you're like, oh, you know, you're so used to carving the jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, which are like 90% cavity and 10% flesh. These guys have these super tiny cavities.
So if you're harvesting them for seeds, which is what I do, yeah, not so much.
It's a waste of energy because you need almost a bandsaw to get through to the skin. They're so hard to get into.
Okay.
Like, the spaghetti squash has nothing on these pumpkins, and they're a lot heavier than you would think they would be, and you end up with so much more pumpkin than you would ever thought you would have had.
So this is like 10 pounds.
Yeah, and so like if I were to can this, it would probably be 10 quarts of cubed pumpkin.
So I brought some tools to see how we can get into this pumpkin. And one would think you could just take your chef knife and, you know, cut right into it, because you can do that with a carving pumpkin, right? Yeah. So it's gonna break my. Yeah, I'm gonna first of all lose my thumb, and second of all, yeah.
It's snapping already.
Yeah.
Like the pumpkin.
Now my knife is stuck.
Yeah.
All right. This is
dangerous.
It's just
what not to do.
What not to do. And here's my other tool. When I actually cut watermelons, I use my bread knife.
That makes sense.
Because.
More like cutting through wood.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
This is like already like
this is a hard no. So I've also been working in one of my rooms to try to yeah, let's see if a chisel and a hammer will get us into this pumpkin, just to show you guys what kind is this one? Is it Cinderella? Or?
I think this is a fairy tale pumpkin. No, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a fairy tale. Or actually, I might have that chart. Let me pull it up and see.
Okay, this was a great idea, but it's
and so they pop. And so what I generally do is I get halfway around them, and then I start on the second side, and I try and kind of split it.
Okay. So
I try and get halfway cut, and then I use force to just kind of break it open at that point, because they're so hard to get open and almost not worth it. You can like start baking them a little bit to soften them up some, I personally don't like doing that because then they might get too soft for canning. Because you don't want to can puree. It's not safe to can puree. You need to can it as cubes.
So I'm thinking the bottom line on this is that you really have to like pumpkin to be willing
Or
to
be super cheap.
Well, because then once we get in here, how the heck are we gonna get the skin off?
I use a potato peeler.
Okay.
Yeah, but I usually get it like this, and I'll get it mostly cut like that, and I sometimes I'll try to quarter it or eighth it, and I'm really persistent, and I have apparently too much time on my hand for canning. See, the cavity is not nearly as big as you would think.
Yeah,
There's
so
a ton of
take a look in
flesh.
there. This is what the pumpkin looks like. Tons of flesh.
It smells really good.
Yeah, it does. Actually
Very
smells like
sweet.
cucumbers
Yeah.
to me. Yeah, that actually smells really good. So the top of this was starting to get a little squishy, right? Whereas
I
at the
think it's
bottom.
just darkening.
Yeah.
This one's not. This one was getting a little squishy. I grew this one.
Oh, okay.
It's just old. I think it's desiccating a little bit. But they're really hard to get open, but they're actually not as hard to peel. I think it's just the hardness of the whole flesh. But I just use like a potato peeler and just peel off
Okay.
the rind and
Kind of like a butternut squash.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's not so bad. And then I just get an upper arm workout and, and dice it out. And they make great, like you can stick it in an Instant Pot like this if you wanted, and it comes right off the peel.
You could just stick this in an Instant Pot?
Yeah, I quarter it.
How long would you put it in there for?
Probably like 20 minutes.
Okay, we'll do that
15 minutes.
and we'll be back. So we're pretty much done here. Oh, it still weighs a ton. So come in closer, let's see. So it's not completely mush, but if you let it cool off, we could scoop this out. And then after that, you puree it to make it into pumpkin pie, pumpkin soup, pumpkin something. Those are the only two I know of to use for pumpkins.
Roasted pumpkin, like instead of butternut squash or something.
Roasted pumpkin, yeah, but wouldn't you roast it from whole?
Yeah, I mean, at
maybe
this
like
point,
slice it into
yeah,
ribs.
or you could saute it when it's this point, so you can just like put some herbs and butter and.
Sounds like a job that's going to have to require a lot of bacon to make it tasty.
Yes, yes, lots of pig butter and.
Yeah, so there's what you can do. Come on back up here. Yes, you can eat the pumpkins that you find, oh my gosh, at the store. But man, it's not easy, and you got to be really dedicated to it. So this was another episode of Produce with Pamela for Blue Book Services.